Hello, students. Now we're going to talk about systems of linear equations, solutions by substitution. We did solutions by graphing last video, and we'll do solutions by addition next video. So substitution is pretty easy once you understand it, and a lot of times students use this method just all the time, even in the next section, which is perfectly fine. Just that sometimes it's easier to do it with the next method. It just depends on how it's set up. So, solve the following system of linear equations by substitution and determine whether the system has one solution, no solutions, or an infinite number of solutions. Okay, so what we're going to do here is pick one of those equations and solve for one of the variables in one of those equations, and then plug that in, substitute that what we find for that variable into the other equation. So it really doesn't matter, especially in one like this. There's no obvious easier one to pick than any other. If one of the x's or y's had a coefficient of 1 or -1, we would pick that one to start with, just because it would be simpler. But this one doesn't matter. So I'm actually going to just pick the first equation and the first variable in that equation. So if I have -7x minus 7y equals 28, and I'm going to solve for x. So in other words, I want to isolate x and get x equals something. So I'll start by adding 7y to both sides. So I have -7x equals 7y plus 28. Divide both sides by -7. So x equals -y minus 4. So I've solved the first equation for x. Now I'm going to substitute -y minus 4 in for x in the second equation and solve for y. So -6 times, instead of x right here, I'm going to plug in -y minus 4 because x equals -y minus 4. Plus 3y equals 6. So distribute here and I get positive 6y plus 24 plus 3y equals 6. Add my like terms, 6y plus 3y is 9y. Whoops. Minus 24 from both sides. 9y equals 6 minus 24, which is -18. Divide both sides by 9, and I get y equals -2. So -2 goes there. Then I'm going to take that and substitute that right back into here to find x. X is -y minus 4, so that's the opposite of -2 minus 4, which is +2 minus 4, which is -2. So they happen to be the same thing. Not always true. That's just random. And again, this is quick. You can pause, you can rewind, do whatever you need to. But I need to move quickly in order to get as many examples in a 15-minute video as I can. So -2, -2, one solution. All right, same thing here. I'll do another one like this, and then I'll start looking for different ones. I'm just going to solve that first one for x, the exact same thing I did last time, because they all have coefficients that are not 1. So it doesn't matter which one you solve for. So -2y, -2y. Again, I'm going fast here. Hopefully I won't make any mistakes. Divide by -2. So x equals y plus 6. Okay. So I'm going to plug that into here. -3 times y plus 6 plus 3y is -18. Distribute. -3y minus 18 plus 3y equals -18. Combine like terms. -3y and +3y is 0y, which is just 0. So I get a statement that is always true, right? -18 is always -18, no matter what x and y are. So that is a special situation. If you get something that's always true, then that's going to be an infinite number of solutions. If you get something that's always false, then it's no solution. All right, same thing here, except for here, I'm going to solve that second equation for y because it's going to be so simple. That has a coefficient of 1, so all I have to do is add 3x to both sides. And so I've done it in one step. Again, I could have solved that first equation for x and I'd land on the same answer, but I like to try to make it as simple as possible. So I solved the second equation for y. I'm going to substitute that in for y in that first equation and solve for x. So negative 9x plus 3 times 3x plus 26 is negative 6. So negative 9x plus 9x plus, I don't know what that is, 3 times 6, 78. All right, combine like terms, boom, they're gone. So now I have a statement that looks like this. Well, that is never true, no matter what x and y are. So that's always false. So there's no solution to that one. All right, no obvious one to solve for. So I'm just going to take that first one and solve it for x. Come on. So negative 10x plus 2y equals 8. Take away 2y. Negative 10x is negative, I don't know why I wrote 8 there, negative 2y plus 8. Divide by negative 10. X equals 1/5 y minus 4/5. See how I did that? If you need help with that, that's from Unit 1, but I did negative 2 divided by negative 10 to reduce that to 1/5. Positive 8 divided by negative 10 reduces to negative 4/5. Now I'm going to substitute that into that second equation. So negative 3 times 1/5 y minus 4/5 plus 3y equals negative 12. Distribute here, so negative 3/5 y plus 3 times 4 is 12/5 plus 3y equals negative 12. Now, if you don't like those fractions, they both have a denominator of 5, so I'm going to multiply both sides of my equation by 5. You can leave them as fractions and do them as fractions, but a lot of people don't like fractions, so I'm going to kind of get rid of them for you. So this becomes negative 3y plus 12 plus 15y equals negative 60. Now, if you can't do this multiplication, you need to take some time out and do it longhand. 5/1 times negative 3/5. The 5's cancel, so you just get negative 3. So I'm assuming at this point that you can do that. All right, combine like terms. Negative 3y plus 15y. 15 minus 3 is 12, so 12y plus 12 is negative 60. Subtract 12 from both sides. 12y equals negative 72. Divide by 12, so y is negative 6. Is that right? 72. Yes. Okie dokie. So y is negative 6. Take that, plug that right back into here. X is 1/5 times negative 6 minus 4/5. So that's going to give me negative 6/5 minus 4/5, which is negative 10/5, which is negative 2. All right, so negative 2, negative 6 is my point. All right, this one has fractions. Everybody hates fractions, so let's do this. What I'm going to do to get rid of those fractions, how do I make this guy move over? Okay, I'm going to multiply actually both equations by 5. Super easy because my denominators are all 5s, so that's going to actually make my fractions go away. So this first one will become negative 6x because the 5's cancel, plus 2 times 5 is 10y equals 6. And the bottom one will become 12x minus 20y equals negative 12. So you can always multiply by the denominator if it's the same number, or if it's more than one denominator, you can find the least common denominator, multiply everything by that, and your fractions go away. All right, so now I'm going to, there's nothing obvious, so I'm just going to solve that first equation for x. So I subtract 10y from both sides. Divide by negative 6. So that becomes positive 5 over 3y minus 1. Now I'm going to substitute that into that second equation. So 12 times 5/3 y minus 1 minus 20y equals negative 12. So when I do this multiplication, my 3 goes into my 12 4 times. 4 times 5 is 20. Y minus 12 minus 20y equals negative 12. Those cancel out. Negative 12 equals negative 12. That is always true, so it's going to have infinitely many solutions. And I think I have time for one more. All right, this one's great because it's already halfway done for you. Notice that first one is already solved for y in terms of x. So I'm just going to plug that into the second one. Every time I see a y, I'm going to write x minus 6. So negative 6x plus 6 times, instead of y, x minus 6 equals negative 36. Distribute. And you can see this is going to be another infinitely many solutions because those cancel each other out. Negative 36 equals negative 36. So that one was very quick and easy. Maybe I have time for one more. All right, this one is almost as simple. If you divide that first equation by 4, you'll get y equals negative x minus 4, right? I divided by 4, this equation. So y negative 1x, negative 4. All right, and then I substitute that into here. So negative 6x plus 6 times y equals 24. And negative 6x minus 6x minus 24 equals 24. Negative 6x minus 6x is negative 12x. Add 24 to both sides. So negative 12x equals 48. Divide by negative 12. X equals negative 4. All right, then I plug that in up here. So the opposite of negative 4 minus 4 equals positive 4 minus 4, which is 0. So y is 0. So negative 4, 0 is my one solution there. So hopefully this has been helpful and makes sense, and you will do fine on the rest of these problems.